All right, welcome back to the tiebreaker rounds of GPS. We have Giant Poet against Epid, and it's in the middle of game one. Giant Poet is playing Warriorcrats, which is a warrior tribal deck that has lots of aristocrat-like effects. For example, Channeler of the Veil, which you can sack. It's a sack outlet, and then you also have Solemn Teacher and Wayward Afflicted, which are creatures that benefit from things dying. Like Solemn Teacher basically gives our guys persist, and Wayward Afflicted also has persist. So that's going to be a lot of sack triggers coming up. Meanwhile, Epid is on Mono Black featuring Villainy. And from what I've heard, Epid said that their deck has a really good matchup against Warriorcrats and other creature decks like this because they're like on the mono anti-aggro plan. They're playing main board 4 Wave of Decays and also the Villainies, which are a huge pain for creature decks if it ever resolves. Wait, Giant Poet's not going to sack anything in response to the Villainy? I guess they didn't need to sack anything.
Yeah, this matchup is very difficult for Warriorcrats just because that for Warriorcrats, every single damage point matters. And Epid's mono black strategy with Villainies and Wave of Decays can let them gain a lot of life.
Exactly. So let's see. How's the game gone on so far? The game hasn't progressed too much, at least.
I mean, Epid looks like they're in a very good position drawing that third copy of Villainy. And
Well, yeah, and they're gonna get another trigger.
that's going to be a lot of triggers.
Oh dear. Yeah, I think Giant Poet might be in quite some trouble right now. They're gonna start picking off the Solemn Teacher as well as the Construct. I mean, it doesn't matter what you pick off here. You can just wipe their board every turn at this point. Okay, yeah, and Solemn Teacher comes back as a 1/1 because its death trigger sees itself. Oh, and Infectious Ego off the top. I mean, hilariously enough, I think Infectious Ego is actually one of the worst draws right now because it doesn't trigger Villainy, and Giant Poet probably doesn't mind sacking their creatures.
Yeah. It's the one time Infectious Ego doesn't just destroy the board state. And it looks like gynoidpoet is going to call it immediately.
Yeah, I mean, do you really want to play through this board state?
No, you don't.
And yeah, Epid showing off their third Villainy, I think, right? Oh
Yeah,
well.
they're just showing off at that point. It's a pretty difficult matchup for Warriorcrats. I think your main out might just be going for the infinite persist combo.
Yeah, well, anyways, let's go on to sideboarding. So, Giant Poet, let's see what they have in the board. They have Charming Marauder, I guess. Is there anything that's good for them? Like, they have Duress, I guess, too?
Yeah, I think you will have to really try to get Duress to hit the villainy. But even then, it's not great because they still have so many other threats in what is it called? Wave of Decay, gaining a ton of life.
Well,
and killing
it's not
2
threats,
things.
it's answers. But
Answers,
yeah.
right.
And post board, you get to bring in Violent Collapse and Sandrine's Command, I guess. Or, no, I don't think the Edicts are good here. I think
I
you
don't
just
think
bring
the
in.
edicts do enough.
You just bring in the 4 Violent Collapse and laugh at your opponent as you have 4 more board wipes. Although, again, if Giant Poet manages to get on board with a Solemn Teacher, the board wipes aren't that great. Like, you have to ping off the Solemn Teacher before you can wipe the board safely. And
Yeah,
actually, Giant Poet has Charming Marauder plus Selective Breeding, right? So they can't tutor out Enchantment Destruction if Epid decides to like slam tap out for Villainy turn 3, and then Giant Poet responds by tutoring out their Charming Marauder, then it blows up the Villainy, and they're pretty far ahead. Oh, here's Charming Marauder.
Oh, we've started, yeah.
Unfortunately, this hand doesn't have that many lands.
Yeah, you can't keep this, unfortunately.
It would be great otherwise, because you have almost everything that you want.
You have the Chun Ring, yeah, and you have the Still Smoke.
Oh, Epid brought in Sealed Tomb.
Ooh, that's a painful second hand from Gynoid Poet. 5 lands and nothing really early to play on.
You're gonna have to
So
log
you
in
can't
this.
keep this either.
Well, I mean, at least with this one's slightly better mana-wise.
Slightly better.
Like you fetch
1 land still.
Well, you have a bunch of 1-drops, so you just fetch a black green land and then hope that you hit your land drops as you go along.
Right. It's a little unfortunate, especially since China is also on play here.
You can always top deck some land. Oh, they're gonna bottom Mutilate. I mean, it makes sense. They're gonna try to get out Stubborn Blade Mate if they get their second land.
I think with this starting hand, your best bet might just to be holding back and not pushing very aggressively and trying to get off a good Cradle of Corruption.
You can't fetch Cradle here though because you're gonna master yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can almost assume that you're not going to be able to just use tempo and kill the opponent with creatures turning sideways.
They're gonna play a one drop. Let's see if they go duress or Wayward Deflected first. They're gonna lead with
Looks like a duress.
I feel like they probably should have kept duress because like you probably want to duress before the villainy turn in case your opponent draws it, right?
Right. There's not a great duress target right now.
Just take the Seal Tomb because that's the only duress target that actually does something.
Right. Seal the Tomb does disable
they take
theirs.
Descend because it's removal. I feel like that's probably the weakest removal spell in the deck though because it only hits your tokens.
Right.
Epid gets to try to mask your Giant Poet with Mirror Gate. Let's see if they're gonna do that.
I think Valdez might have been a better choice.
You can't take Valdez off the rest.
Oh, right. My bad. I see Valdez and I think, oh, it's a sorcery spell.
I think the better option would probably just be to take either Dark Bargain or Seal the Tomb. Actually, yeah, take Dark Bargain so that they don't get an extra card draw. I mean, it's a 1-for-1. Okay, so they do go for turn on Valdez. But that means Epid knows that Giant Poet's stuck on lands and they're ready to, or they can safely Mirror Gate and try to mass through them.
Right. So Gynoid really needs a land drop here, or they're in a lot of trouble.
And they still get to drop their Wayward Afflicted, even if they don't draw a land. Oh dear.
Charming Marauder? Oh, they get the Wayward Afflicted out. Although Charming Marauder isn't too good. They still need 2 more lands before it can come out.
Yeah.
Thankfully,
another
Epid's deck is not too quick. Yeah. You Valdez, make them discard Stubborn Blade Mate, and it's gonna hurt.
No, I think Valdezing is fine. The Mirror Gate's actually what's going to be the problem.
Oh, yeah.
Well, but at least it's not naming Cradle of Corruption. Not that matters, but...
Mm-hmm. Oh, they are naming Cradle of Corruption.
Yeah, I guess they decided that they'd rather play it safe. They don't want to mask the opponent because they might draw out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably the better play, honestly.
Honestly, yeah, probably.
A forest. Alright, so that
you get the second land drop, but it doesn't let them play anything.
Yeah. Is it just me, or is every game I've witnessed from the Warriorcrats deck so far them getting masked or color screwed?
Well, I personally only watched one of these games, this being the first. And, well, it does happen from time to time if Warriorcrats runs out of cards.
It's not even that. I think their mana requirements are pretty strict, because they're trying to get off 3 colors.
Mm-hmm. Well, not looking too good.
I mean, like, I could see a situation where Epid tries to slam a villainy, and then Giant Poet draws the lands to answer it with Charming Marauder. That at least somewhat gets Giant Poet on board.
Very interesting. Are there any Warriorcrats in the top 8 currently, other than this one?
I don't think so.
Because there are 5 Warriorcrat decks in the... Oh, McGuffin is running Warriorcrats.
Okay, so I guess that's...
And I believe that's the only one. Because there were... Go ahead.
Epid's gonna Seal the Tomb now.
Oh.
Feels a bit premature, but I guess they want to see what Giant Poet's hand is before they Valdez it.
Mm-hmm.
Might as well get rid of Solemn Teacher because that's its strongest card.
And with Valdez, I think you might even just remove the Charming Marauder.
Yeah, well, no point in not doing that.
Right, because they don't have the red source, and it's very difficult to get the white source for the Recite with Marauder in this deck.
Epid's gonna make Giant Poet exile all, which ironically actually improves Giant Poet's draws for next turn because Giant Poet can't cast it anyways right now.
It's pretty funny, actually. That's fair. Seal the Tomb is a May ability, so they technically could exile fewer of them.
I mean, there have been times where people didn't exile all copies with Seal the Tomb.
Mm-hmm. What kind of situation would lead to that?
When the card in percussion would be a bad top deck and you're only using it as exile target card from graveyard.
That makes sense. Well, Valdez is coming down, and they are removing the Charming Marauder.
Yep. Oh, selective
breeding might be their best draw.
Okay, I see. That's why they got rid of Solemn Teacher, because Giant Poet can tutor it.
So do you even play selective breeding here?
I mean, why not? It gets you a 2-drop, right? No. Otherwise, you're not doing anything.
It does, but which 2-drop do you want?
Is there anything that lets you mana fix?
No, there's not, sadly.
Well, I guess you just want to fetch something that does stuff.
Yeah, there's not really a great target. Maybe you go for
Channeler of the Veil. That doesn't do much either.
Not really. Channeler really needs the second card. Work with it. I think I personally would have just held it.
And pass the turn without doing anything?
Well, yeah, pass the turn without doing anything. Hopefully draw Duskwood Revolutionary next turn and try to go for the combo there.
I mean, you can just fetch it this turn and hope you draw it next turn.
Draw another Wayward Afflicted.
I mean, it doesn't even... help
doesn't
because you
do
need
much,
attack
yeah.
outlet.
Right.
Actually, no, it does help because
Mutilated warrior.
they're just going on offense.
Interesting.
Like if you have nothing else, might as well start beating down.
Hmm.
It's probably the most impactful card on its own right now.
Yeah, that's a pretty difficult situation to be in. Solid teacher being a non-target. Yeah, everything else doesn't look too great either. Perhaps Spore Flow Protector if they subbed it in?
I don't think they did. I don't think this is a slow spore flow protector matchup.
Yeah, I was just thinking it might be just some outlet for mana if you draw poorly. Although, if you draw poorly, you probably lost anyway.
So like your original suggestion of just passing a turn might actually be good here because selective for 3 is so much better than selective for 2. You swamp off the top.
I think a wave of decay is coming.
Yeah, definitely.
Just to shut down any hopes of building a board up. Yep, there it is. That's brutal.
It's actually not that brutal because, or compared to what Giant Poet was at before, like it's not a huge blowout because Giant Poet's already losing super hard.
Yeah, I think they are going to concede here.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, that was some quick games.
That was pretty fast, yeah. All right.
Yeah, Epid's deck is pretty well teched for a matchup, and also Giant Poet didn't draw well in game 2, but in game 1, like multiple villainies, multiple wave of the K's main board. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Warriorcrats still has one top 8 in McGuffin. I think they're the person who wrote the guide as well.
Yeah.
That everyone is copying the list from. So maybe there's some secret he hasn't been telling us.
No, their secret is that they're not drawing horribly and not running into the deck that's tech to beat it.
True. Looks like that's it. Pretty fast.
Yep. Anyways, that means we're going into the top 8, so hopefully we get some coverage of those games.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm against Epid. Maybe I could do that right now.
Yeah. Are you gonna record yourself?
I'm not gonna. No, I don't think so.
All right. Well, anyways,
All right.
yeah, we'll cut for now.